Hi, welcome back to the channel again. Um, this video is going to be about relationships, specifically expats relationship, expat LDR, what's called the abbreviation for long distance relationships, and how most of them ended up. In my case, I was putting, well, if I'm going to talk about long distance relationships, um, between people who live in different countries, of course, and you maintain, and people, like myself, I was maintaining a long distance relationship for a long time, and to be specific, it was for 14 years. It looks amazing. I mean, I'm not making it up for no, I don't have a reason to make up something, just a number, just to get views. But 14 years, yes, it looks long, but sounds long, but it's how this happened. Um, and I'm going to give you some more little details, just in case you don't believe me. Those 14 years, how did I look, and how did she look, my current wife, 14 years ago while we were dating, let's say long distance, online video, via video calls, and, and like that. And how was she, how did she look, 14 years ago, and how does it look now? And how does it look 2 years ago when we got married? So I'm gonna go through that three steps. I'm going to show you some, pictures maybe, and some more little details about that. So just stick around. And as I say before, like I'm gonna go for the first first, stage of our relationship in which we met. Like I say, I would say now is 15 years. We married actually 16 years, very, very much, because almost 2 years ago, this October is going to be 2 years. October, yeah, it's going to be 2 years. So it's not even 2 years. So I would say, if I do my correct math, we were in a long distance relation for 14 years before getting married. And last week I had the introduction of that first stage, like I said. First stage meaning that in which I had in the same couch she came. I mean, she was at home at the moment, and she's home right now, but she's a little busy there. She may come or maybe not, but hopefully, like I say, I in that video I was promised you guys that soon, in a couple of, I don't know, a couple of weeks or so, or very much, I'll make the announcement. I'll be in my on my on my channel when we're gonna have a live stream, so she can answer some questions. She does, like if if you're one of those of you guys who watched that video, like from last week, I would say 5 days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, and so she was, well, she was here. I mean, I introduced her. She's her name and very few words in English that she spoke, but I was translating for her whatever she had to say. But it was a few minutes introduction. It wasn't that long. But on that live stream that we're planning, I'm planning to, I'll talk to her about it. We're gonna be answering questions about those 14 years. If you ask the question, I mean, if you're curious about it, and if there's no question about it, we will still do the live stream anyway. But if you, for those of you, I'm thankful. I mean, I appreciate, those of you who tuned in, that from that video, and I have, a few comments that I saw in my comment section that I answered also. Some of my subscribers, some of you guys put some wrote some comments, did write some comments there. So I'm thankful for that too. Whatever the comments is, it could be either way, but it was very much mostly positive comments that I got. It wasn't that many comments. I think it was two or three. I mean, that was it's okay. But even if the comments that you make, it's go the other way, it's fine too. I'm here to, you know, basically answer any comments, whether um, that may come. I mean, this is open, open forum. We are a community. Not we all have different opinions about life. This is Life in Central. That's my channel. That's the channel. The Foreigner, Life in Central America, life overseas, life of an expat, anywhere you are. So I take my channel. Sometimes I make comments about expats in the Philippines, expat in Southeast Asia, Latin America, Central America, Mexico, even in the States, United States. So I think, uh, because we all intertwined in a way, we all related to each other. I mean, even those of you just view my channel and don't subscribe yet, but it's okay. That's I'm glad you're watching. At least if you haven't subscribed, it's okay too. But anyway, I'll get started. So this is what happened. This is just in case you are curious about it. This how we looked, like I said before. Uh, I would say I did mention 14 years. That was the dating period of this LDR. LDR is what abbreviation of long distance relationship. This is how we looked. I mean, both, of course, 15 and a half years ago. Because like I said, you had 14 years of marriage and almost year, we're almost close to 2 years of being married. So it's almost 16 years, basically. And this is how we look, just in case you're curious about it. And here we are. This is us, myself. Of course, I'm there uh, on this picture, right? This is 15 and a half, almost 16 years ago when we started dating with my wife. Yeah. So this is right. Let me close up a little bit. As you can see, right? I don't know if you see. I'm gonna hopefully there's enough light, good lighting, so you can have a view. This is how we look, and times goes on, right? Life goes on, and guess what, guys? This is how we look today. I mean, well, actually, this picture is from, I'm not going to say today. This picture is when we got just a month, like when we got married, which is this one, right? Um, this is how she looks, and that's how I look myself too. I'm right there. This is how she looks today. I mean, no, I'm sorry, I made that mistake again. I'm sorry, so many mistakes. But this is I don't edit by the way, guys. I don't edit any of my videos, so very much. This is how she looks. She did look like almost 2 years ago, just a month before we got married. We took this picture. So if we compare, I'm gonna just now put it together. How do we look? How did it look? Um, you know, how did we look years ago? Almost 16 years ago, right? I'm gonna pan a little bit here, and this is 2 years ago. This is almost 15, 16, almost 16 years ago. This is good, right? Okay, there you go, and that's where we are. And the reason is that one of the reasons why I'm putting this picture on is that how things change, right? Um, to be honest, guys, I mean, this is not about about gender. I mean, about making how about appearance. Relationship is not about how we look 15 years. How do we look now? I mean, it's not about appearance. It's about relationship. It's about communication. About how when we understand each other, and if there is it's possible even in a long distance relationship, it's possible to sustain, to maintain that. There could be many problems. We had lots of problems, issues that we had to deal with, but we ended up getting married, and that's where we are. And for myself, I mean, of course, she is a single mom. She had another son, another child, and I myself, I had another child too, who is now older, very, very much, he's an adult now. And but how things went. I mean, from that, if you saw the pictures, right, it seems that we all age, right? But of course, it's different, and different in the way we look. That's very natural, and the way we our weight. I mean, myself, if you see, I'm gonna put it one more time. Just this is not talking about being overweight or being not overweight. I mean, uh, for instance, she looked very much a little different. I mean, in weight than you know 15 and a half years ago. And 15 and a half years ago, like you saw my picture, very much I kind of maintain my same weight, very much. And this is not to be, to discriminate, or, or to be like picky, or to be trying to, criticize. Don't take it a negative way. All I'm trying to say here is that there are so many, people who, do like, they are in a long distance relationship, and when they come to the place, I mean, when they end up traveling, right, especially the male, if you're a man and you live in the States, and you go to the Philippines, you go to Central America, Latin America, you go to Mexico, and for the first time you meet the person in person, right, and the person looks different than many times. It does look different. Then bam, everything that like all the illusion, all everything that you had been communicating, I mean, and talking to that girlfriend. I mean, there is frustration about the way she looked on video, on pictures, and the way she looked when you come a year later or 5 years later to meet the person. So there is a kind of, like a fake, in a way, it's like a fake. That's how you feel, like there was something, scam, like a, in a way that maybe that person was trying to, pretending to be somebody who she wasn't not. But this is not the case. In my case, this is just the it wasn't the case. But I have to mention that because it has to do with the issue of long distance relationship, because many women or even men, they pretending to be a gentleman, they pretend, on video, right? So sweet. Sometimes the guys, sometimes, they pretend to be gentlemen, so sweet, giving. I mean, very much, the perfect prince. I mean, if you will, if you are the one who is in the Philippines or say in Cambodia or Vietnam, those more almost half of those long distance relationships ended up being a good story, a beautiful story. But some of them, almost half of them, doesn't work, and that's the problem. That's one of the issues that we all deal as an expat. We deal with those issues almost every day. We hear so many stories of relationship that ends when things weren't. I mean, it's not the way they were supposed to be. They were supposed to be, in the communication that took place. So there is, frustration. There is people, get, the illusion. They feel mad. They were in love before, but once they meet the person, it doesn't seem to be the reality of what they have, what they thought it was. And once they come and meet the family or meet, uh, get into the, when the person, that girlfriend comes to the airport to meet you for the first time, whether this is in Cebu, in the Philippines, or Manila, or it could be Buenos Aires, Argentina, or this Mexico City. In the case of Mexico, is closer, but also Central America, Costa Rica, I mean, San Jose, Tegucigalpa. I mean, you can tell, you can, name the place. And because not everyone, can come really to leave their jobs, or for, they to come for a visit. Like it takes 2 years sometimes, and so most LDRs are via online dating, on dating sites. People, meet on dating sites, and even through relatives sometimes. But it's still a long distance relationship, and it's hard to maintain. Um, but in my case, when I did introduce you to my, wife, my second marriage. This is my, for me, like I said before, it's a second marriage. And my first marriage, I have my other son, and ended up, in after 7 years of marriage, I remember. And then I was, of course, alone for many years. I mean, for, I would say, like 17, almost 18, 17 years, if I can recall. And that, because of course I was on that relationship, like a long distance. In a long distance, I was in the States, and very much, I used to, rent a small place. It was, the issue of being alone and loneliness. It's a deep issue, very complicated issue. I'm going to refer just, briefly about that. But of course, she was lonely too. In many cases, most likely, well, she can speak for herself. I'm not going to speak for her, but of course, it's just different in Latin America. I mean, people are very much, living with different relatives, in a family compound, just like in the Philippines. So loneliness is different when you live. In my case, that I was, in a big city by myself. Of course, I have friends. I have my son. I mean, my other son who live in other different place, but we have people nearby. But still, alone. It was okay. It was good, but still there was some moments of loneliness. Some people say, well, how come I didn't have a dog when I was living in a room, like paying $700, $800 per a rooms, small, very small room like that. I had to eat outside. I didn't cook because the people who were renting me that place, I was paying big money. I mean, 800. It was $700, then $800 for that room. But I wasn't allowed to cook there, to cook myself, to save some money for, so I don't have to eating outside. I had my bicycle. I didn't have for a couple of years. I had a car. I was driving, but then I had a bicycle that was, using a bicycle to go all the places, public transportation. You know how New York is. Many of you, who live in New York. So very much, after those years, I lived by myself, basically. and work and do the things I had to do to survive basically. But then things after the time was on, went on and on and on, and then we had to make a decision to what to do with our lives, and there was some we had a crisis for a couple of years, I would say, in that she was just about to make her own decision about what to do with her life. She wanted to just break up, and myself too. I was kind of in a way it's okay. I mean, because it was taking too much time. But then things were eventually got resolved, and we ended up getting married. But about the weight, I was thinking about. Well, she's now. Well, if you saw our video last week, you saw her in person, and she's uh, about there are issues. Of course, we talk about different issues. We had conversation about family life. We have different, just like any other marriage, and one of the issues is perhaps weight issue, right? That's one of the issues. About We don't have any issues about like a language barrier, because I do speak Spanish, of course, and of course she doesn't speak English that much, but we get along okay. So we still have issues. I mean, we deal with every just like any other marriage. We have our own issues, problems, family issues, and on and on and on, right? And one of the issues is like about being, that she feels like a little overweight, and that's an open conversation we have. And I always talk about the diet. We're gonna in couple maybe in the future video, I'm gonna be showing you the cost of of groceries here and what's our diet is. Maybe you can make suggestions. There's plenty of vegetables and fruit in this part of Latin America, but they're always fried. Like in Honduras, fried food like fried chicken is number one dish in Honduras. Fried chicken, people love fried chicken. That's the national pastime is eat fried chicken. Of course, baleada, which is made of tortilla and flour, that's a popular dish, one of the top popular dishes. But fried chicken and plantain, that's number one top. And you can, I mean, in some of the videos I have shown, um, there are almost fried chicken place like Popeyes. There's uh, uh, Pollo Campero and KFC. There are many KFC in the cities, in the big cities, but other franchises, local franchises, almost in every corner you can find a fried chicken, place, a fast food franchise of fried chicken and plantain. So everything with oil, greasy fried is very popular in Latin America, especially in Central America. If you go to Costa Rica, it's the same thing. Panama is very much the same, but it varies. So when we talk about healthy eating I'm still talking about my wife, right? Healthy eating, I thought I said, look, um, we should be reducing on, and you can touch this issue when we have the live stream that I was talking to the issue of how to reduce the oil, fat, how to lose in general. Even though that my weight is the same for the last 25 years, as I remember, which is like a 160 to 165 pounds. Sometimes I gain a couple of pounds, but I lose them. I stay very active, very much, all the time, and very much as I can. So I lose, if I gain 5 pounds, I lose 3 pounds the following week. So I exercise. I want to show you in a few minutes where do I exercise, do my exercise, just so you see a little more about my routine, you know. But like I said before, oily and greasy stuff it depends on the habit. Then sometimes we go to the farm where her mother lives. Then we eat the healthy stuff, all kinds of avocado, all kinds of vegetables, fruit, fresh fruit from the trees, basically. Corn, I mean, corn, I know, corn becomes sugar, right? But right now, in Central America, it's a season for corn and beans, green beans, and lots of green beans, which is beans, red beans and green beans is very healthy, as you know. So when we go for weekends, we do like at least twice a month, go to the farm, which is like an hour and a half from here, and then we do the most of the healthy eating. So we're trying to keep moving that routine for just for health. I mean that's what my issue is with her. That listen about weight. Sometimes she says, "Oh, I'm so overweight, so fat." She used the word, and this is not to criticize anything or to complain. No, this is a positive conversation we're having. Guys. So, well, very much. I suggest to her that the exercise equipment that I have outside here on my back here outside. I want to show you, which I don't think you have seen. I'm not sure if you have seen my videos before, but I'm going to show it just so you can have a look of, you can see where I do my exercise and keep, and do some walking. I mean, lots of walking. I love walking. I love bicycle. Of course, this city has, doesn't have that much, Tegucigalpa doesn't have that much places. This is not bicycle friendly city. That's a honest, assessment of mine. So you have to find a place. Of course, there are many places you can do bicycling, but in general, I mean, most of these big cities in Central America, whether it's San Jose or Panama, it's hard to find, bicycle, friendly area. But it's moving. I mean, some places are already, thinking about. They have to do, urban planning better to have that. Just like in Dutch in Holland, right? That I was reading an article, I was watching a video about that. That almost more than half of, in Amsterdam, I think Amsterdam, the city in Holland, more than half of the population go with a bicycle, uh, bicycle to college. I mean, you can see all these, parking lots full of bicycles instead of cars or motorbikes. Even the prime minister of Holland, he was caught. I mean, bicycling to work. Let's think about that. The prime minister, I mean, the leader of the country, going on his bike to work, to the office, he's in charge of the whole country in Holland, right? And I was, watching that, how amazing it is. But anyway, going back to our issue about health, right? Health and marriage. I mean, this is how our long distance relationship came about and how where the current state is. And just, like I said, on that bicycle, fixed bicycle that I have, there's plenty time, it's always there. I told her to do exercise if she wants to do it. I mean, I'll support whatever she, or start, sometimes I walk our little dog, Shasha, walk around, in this neighborhood. And she's a very busy person, I guess. She works and goes, she's very, this morning, for instance, she's taking an online course, online, class. Well, just to, I'll show it to her. So that's, if she wants to do exercise, of course she's busy, but hopefully when she's done, she'll come to exercise, but she almost doesn't do exercise that much, unless at work when she has to work, right? But it's office work. So as you know, most for those of you who still work, at your offices, it's hard to exercise in your office building. But some offices have, like this is one of the perks if you work in an office building. Sometimes they have gyms, right, at the same building. And one of the perks as a, if you're an executive, working at an office, is that you can at lunchtime have or even break time do some, exercise at your own gym, right? This is paid for by the company, I guess. One of the perks that you get in some places, not all places, mostly in the States, right? I mean, in some places you got that perk, but in this area, you don't get that. I mean, if you want to go to the gym, you have to pay membership fee. But anyway, so I'll in a minute, I'll show you one more time how we look, just in case you're curious about it. One more time, both of the pictures, how we look 15 and a half, almost 16 years ago, like I said before, and how we look, of course, and how we look today. And that's where you see the age difference. Of course, the age gap is 20 years age gap, like you can see. It's a 20 years age gap. I'm the older one, of course. And she was just laughing the other day when we did that video. I am 20 years older than her. And well, it's still working, just in case you have any questions when we do. This is like a very little introduction, part of the introduction, right, of the live stream we're going to have in a couple of weeks or 3 weeks. I promise you that we're going to have it. And then in case you want to, have some comments and questions about it, but I'll make the announcement for all subscribers and for everyone, wants to see. And I want to just another minute, just in case you came this far in the video, show the place where I do my exercise, and we'll wrap it up the video. I'm gonna do a little walking here. Just stay, please, just a minute, so I can. She's there. Let's see if she wants to say hi. Like I said before, she's doing a little online course. Let me see if she wants to say hi. Hola, there she is. Hola, there you go. There she is. Okay, And of course, this is the exercise place that I do my exercise to stay healthy. And of course, I'm gonna be. This is the bicycle, fixed bicycle, that where I do my exercise. Very much, I try to do every day at least hour and a half or 2 hours and do my walking uh, in this neighborhood and anywhere I go. Like I'll do. Sometimes I do mall walking, going to the mall, which is like a 20 minutes from here. Which I used to do that mall walking on the States. So somebody, of course, I was by myself. I did my mall walking, I said, and it was good. And guys, so briefly, I wanted to dig deeper to this issue about marriage and LDR, long distance relationship. Sometimes it does work, and in this case, well, it's still working. For me, like I said before, it's my second marriage. It does work. For those of you or that are still on this for that you have your girlfriend far away from home, wherever you are in Canada or the United States or Europe, and that if you keep the trust going. Trust is the most number one thing in long distance relationship. If you keep the trust going, it may work. So keep the hopes and try to be good for her, and hopefully she's good for you too. And we'll see you on the next video with another video that might interest you about life in Latin America, life overseas, the expat daily life. See you in the next video. My God bless you all. Take care.